time.
Yep.
So you have a tree, you've got...
I have a tree, I have a menorah, I have, I got it all going on.
Right. And you guys have been singing and dancing all over the country. Who started this and what kind of fun is that?
It was all her idea.
Yeah, like loosely.
And I wish she would think up something else because it's exhausting, frankly.
I'm just boogieing down. Yeah, you're the one that brought all this on. It's good.
Actually, I think it was your idea, Sharon.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
And I went, okay. And then we sat and organized it, and it all happened. And then that was for the first Roxy show. And then it kind of snowballed on to New York, Chicago, and now we're back to the Roxy.
The addiction set in.
I don't know. This is a funny thing, though. I was just talking to Ren about it, that I'm discovering something about myself in the last year where I hate to repeat myself. I hate to repeat the experience, So the Roxy was really scary, and it was its own thing. And then I guess the next one in New York built on it. Wasn't New York the next one? New York built on that. Mm-hmm. Then we went to Chicago and tried a completely different feel.
Which was great.
Yeah, that was the R&B feel. And I was reviewing it the other day and looking at the songs that really worked, which were very much in the vein of those musicians. You could tell that the songs that they innately understood really rocked out. That was very interesting to me. It's like, so when you go to a certain town and you want musicians that have the character of that town, you must choose music that suits them and you.
That is really
because
interesting.
It's some sort of magical coalescence, some
their culture's
alchemy.
Right there, and they can enhance what they know.
And then you go on this magical carpet ride through their culture, which was just unbelievable. It's such a priceless experience, and I would love to see them again, actually. But this next show, since I don't have them and I don't want to go backwards, I have to do something completely different, and I want to really pare it down, like you said, and just get back to just like friends and family, because a good number of these fans now are, they've become like a different kind of family.
Yeah.
Like a work family. Yeah. And I want to do something that is really private almost. I know that sounds weird, but...
Not at all.
It will not be slick. That's the only thing I could say right now. It will not be slick, but it will be very personal. And
so I have a question then, going back to what you said. If you're doing it at the Roxy, what culture of LA would you want to pull into it? Or is it, they're so diverse you can do whatever you want?
I think I'm going right back to, it's like my living room. It's not even, I don't know about LA, it's just like, this is my...
Oh, what do you sing here? Like we're singing right now.
Right, this is, like my backing singers are going to be Tony Award winning Marissa Jarrett Winoka.
Oh, that's so
her
great.
Husband, Big Judah, who my son's named after, and Daisy, my daughter. So this is not professional, but it's going to be really personal.
Oh, that's
kind of like what they used to have in Hollywood at George Gershwin's house. Everyone would come over.
This is like, come over to George Gershwin's house. And you know what?
Yeah.
This house actually used to belong to a famous lyricist from the 50s.
That's right.
Actually, hang on. No, earlier than that, like, 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Didn't you, at some party, someone was on the piano and you were singing along to Christmas carols or something?
Oh, I can't remember. Oh,
Do you
maybe.
Remember that? Like, that's how I just see you, that sort of idea.
Yeah, that
okay,
that kind of feeling. I wanted it to be like the Bing Crosby Christmas special, but it'll be a little bit crazy because of who we all are.
Because it's you.
Yeah.
David Bowie will walk in.
Well,
you'll do the little drummer boy.
I can't promise David.
That's lovely. Well, what I love about your shows is that there's your personality and your emotion comes out in your songs, and you take us all on a journey. People connect with you anyway in your music,
Well, this time...
So this is going to be even wilder.
Yeah, but I have no idea yet what I'm singing, but I'm meeting with my musical director next week, and I just... I don't know. This is come on into the living room,
Well, that's an interesting point. You say her personality comes out in her music. What's coming out when you're in your dancing? Is that you? Whips and ticklers and...
I definitely have a whip at home. We all know that. I know. But there's definitely the wild Renee that, that sort of balances my...
Vixen.
Yeah, I love sexy clothes. I love all that stuff. I love to dance. I've always loved to dance. So it's great. I mean, I'm not used to whipping so much, in front of...
In public.
Yeah, Actually, I don't really... It's just... Yeah, do I whip? I mean,
Do you whip? Let it
do I
whip.
really whip?
Go ahead,
Let it
spit
whip.
out,
Or
Renee.
if I'm trying to be
Whip it good.
silly. It's exactly like you see on stage. If I'm being silly, then yeah, there will be whipping, but it's just a part of who I am.
You should ask some of the Xena stuntmen about Renee and meting out punishment. She knows how to do it just fine.
Oh my gosh. But I do like dancing. But I haven't seen the, the last one was different. It's not really what I was expecting. I thought the Let It Whip would be similar to what we did at the convention. I don't know why, but it just felt different.
Yeah.
There was just a sense of soul and groove going on, and so the
told
dance
you-
felt different. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you afterwards that your dancing was entirely different than the first two shows. It just felt that way watching
It
it.
was just fun. It's fun being up there. And
Yeah.
with I love that Ray Charles number. Oh my gosh. Still listen to that song and just go, oh,
Baby, what I
so-
say?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every time I hear it, I just get
Ding,
transported
ding,
back
ding,
there.
ding, 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 ding. Yeah,
Just
it's a
wanna
good
shake
one.
it with you. It's so funny.
With the diamond ring.
That was fun.
So it's been a year at least since we guys were together.
It's been a year and a
And,
half. I
uh,
was pregnant, so it's been over a year and a half.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it'd been that
Yeah.
long. Well, this is one of the reasons why you guys have been all over the world, all over the country, doing all kinds of projects. So I thought we'd cover a bit of it. Recently, one of you played Wonder Woman and the other Indiana Jones. Who
Huh.
played which?
Well, I didn't play Wonder Woman.
I certainly don't remember being Harrison Ford.
So you did.
You've done Harrison Ford a couple of times.
This was a little different, yeah. I wasn't playing like the male version of Harrison Ford. This was sort of the lady who goes on an expedition similar to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
This is
It's a whole
movie
different
called
character.
Genesis
Genesis
Code.
Code, yeah. So I
Can you
played a
tell-
woman who basically is trying to prove that there is existence out there that's greater than our own physical being. That's what she's doing. She's trying to show her ex-husband that he should have faith. He should have faith in God, spirituality.
Is this so? You filmed this in Bulgaria. How did you wind up getting the part? And is that the crux of the movie, or I know you have a husband. Is there another male lead?
The male lead is really Tim DeKay, and he plays my ex-husband, which was so much fun to do because there's so many elements, that are sort of personal that you just want to use, you know what I mean? In acting, like you bring out real feelings, or you make comparisons to your own life. And so it was just so much fun to transcend the formula that the Sci-Fi Channel has and make it something that's more like a personal drama or comedy between us. So I really enjoyed doing that. And it just sort of came about. I was talking to the Sci-Fi Channel and said I was interested in doing some things and was giving them ideas that I had because I like to sort of get involved in the whole process. And they basically said, we've already done this or we already have something in production. And then it came up and it was just the right fit. And I was willing to go to Bulgaria for a month with the kids. That was the big thing for me. So I've always been hesitant about taking my kids on location,
But
It was pretty good. We were in Bulgaria. Iris became very sick, so she was in the hospital for 3 days.
Oh, no.
In a hospital where they don't speak English. So it was kind of trying. I was spending the night in the hospital and then going to work all day. But it's funny how your adrenaline.
was your mother there?
Thankfully, my mom was there.
Oh my God, you
Yeah.
must have had a heart attack.
It was
That was
challenging.
stressful,
It was
yeah.
stressful. But your adrenaline as a mother keeps you going. And then I so loved the project that I wasn't tired at all. You just keep pushing through.
Did you come home and collapse?
No, but it's funny. The third day I had all my dialogue, and there's about 8 pages, and it's just my talking. It was just like monologues of information, and I don't know how they'll put it together, but I was worried I wouldn't remember the lines after 3 days of really not sleeping much.
Oh!
And I was so lucky because I finally kept thinking. There was a part of me that kept looking to my own spirituality, and it was about spirituality anyway, going, just let it go, let it happen. And I did, and then suddenly the words would come, But each time I'm like, fuck, excuse me.
Grace.
Sorry.
You got grace, yeah.
And the other actors were all talking, and it was really distracting. I'm like, yeah, let the grace of God just happen. Let it happen. And that was a huge lesson for me as an actor,
Yeah.
that you know it, You don't have to work so hard.
It's in you, don't worry
It's
about
in
it.
you, yeah.
I think you mentioned that a bit when you did the play on stage, either one of the characters, or maybe you were talking to me before.
Well, you forget though.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, keep reminding yourself, Yeah.
There's some divine intervention in here somewhere, you know. And I found that to be really true.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's fun.
And how did you wind up being Wonder Woman? This was a...
I can't remember. I don't know.
What is
Somebody
Wonder
rang
Woman?
up. No, I did.
Oh, the Justice League.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the voice
That's
of
right,
Wonder
that's
Woman
right,
for the
that's
Justice League. But
That's cool.
well, you know, somebody rings your agents, says, "Are you available?" And I wanted to. I'd never felt that I had done that form of performance very well before. I had a taste of it on.
The
was it
Xena one?
animated her.
The animated Herc and Xena and on Simpsons, but
Oh, yeah.
they were such. I was so new to it, I didn't understand that type of performance. So I did it a couple more times with Justice League and for Dragonlance.
Cool.
And it was great. I really enjoyed the experience, but it's very short. You've got to remember that you go in there for an hour and a half,
Wow.
2 hours maybe. You're done,
Wow.
and then it takes another year and a half before they animate it, and probably a few more months before they put it out there. And you've kind of forgotten all about it in the
Yeah.
meantime. Well, you could ask
You
me a
did.
week later and I would have forgotten
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, so I remember on the animated one on Herc and Xena that you only had about maybe one chance to get it. Was it similar to that? You know, when you think of you're doing a movie in an hour and a half, you're really only doing it one time through, right?
You get a few times,
Okay.
a few times, and you just have to trust the director to say yes, that's what you want, because
Of course. Yeah.
they have the image and their, you know, how the shot, the artwork's going to come out, and
Yeah.
you can't
It's matching.
see. You have nothing in front of you to draw on
So
for
hard.
information,
And no other actors.
Doesn't work.
and no other actors.
That's really tough.
Yeah, so you're very often with these things. Oh, wait a minute. So you were going from no actors,
Yeah. There were no actors around.
there?
no other actors.
There were no actors.
Get that
Wow.
get your line.
Yeah, because there's nothing else for you to draw on.
Well,
You go, and no other actors.
there's no other actors there. Those are just-
And no other actors, that's right.
But
Oh,
maybe think-
shit,
had a
I can't
question.
remember where
Hold
we're
on,
going.
Made me think of something though, because you've done so much music lately, right? You're listening, you're actually working in a different realm completely. Did that help you doing the animation then?
No, because I did all the animation way before I
Oh, you did?
started
Oh, okay.
singing.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That's wild.
even before duets.
And there were no actors there.
And no actors. Yeah, you're totally alone in a booth going, did I say that right?
I'm wondering what a director does on an animated feature. I
They-
mean, you deliver a line. I mean, they know this. Do you see the whole script? Well,
You have the script, but you don't know what the other characters look like, apart from some comic strip. Maybe you get a page of comic strip. And you don't know what their voice sounds like. Do you want to
are we picking that up?
go that door?
We are picking that up.
Hey, Warner, there's a couple of doors between us and the kitchen. You want to, yeah. They're just swing doors.
Is there a door on that side too?
Yep, shut every door you can possibly find.
Warner, there's another one on this side too. If you go around there.
In fact, this is a big sliding door in the cavity.
Oh, this right here.
Shut
the
the-
mirror.
No, shut the one there behind you, yeah. And then in here, okay. Shouldn't expect you to find your way around my house. Well, is that door shut? Yeah. Okay, let's pull these, shall we? Lockdown, yeah.
This is the panic room.
Yeah.
For the next nuclear explosion. Are they sitting in the same spot? So what does a director in an animated feature actually do? Give you line,
Some-
descriptions? And
Sometimes the director will give you a line reading. Like, no, I want you to say it more like this. And you just do it because
Wow.
they know who's coming up behind you. You know, they are holding the performances of all the other actors in their head.
Wow.
Even if they haven't been done yet, they have to be the continuity behind every character, I think.
Now, some of them actually, don't they do the voices and they end up keeping the voices in the
Oh, I
movies?
don't know.
I've heard that happen before.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman's actually going to be that man who was
You're right.
directing. It's like, they're going to go, yeah, no, that voice doesn't work.
I can do that. You're right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Dragonlance, you've talked a bit about they wanted a specific voice from it. Did you change your voice for it, or do you using your real voice?
Well, you know
New
what
Zealand
happened?
accent?
No, with Dragonlance, she's supposed to be like Native American or something. So I don't know how to do a Native American accent, and somebody was trying to show me, but it just sounded, weird coming out of me. I can't even do it. I can't even do it. I've never heard it before, so I have no reference for it, and it would just be disrespectful and don't do that. So eventually I realized what they were asking was, can you just do the Xena voice? That's what we want.
Really?
Yeah.
And
The
they,
Xena accent, if you can't actually be Gold Moon or then Native American, then can you be Xena? And they were too shy to ask. They were sort of guiding, try it a bit more staccato. Like this. They want
Is
to
that
be more
'cause-
flowing. You just want me to do Xena, don't you? Yeah. Would you just do Xena?
that's so funny. They couldn't ask that? Well, did they want a sense of timelessness? Is that what they're going for?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
They just liked your Xena voice.
They it's like, yeah, that's what we're paying for.
Gold Moon would be, Gold Moon's a strong character, I gather. She's I've not read those pieces.
I know, to be honest with you, I didn't know anything about it. I was just
Yeah.
wanted to do a favor for my friend George, who I knew during the Xena and Hercules days. George Stratton.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, totally, George, I'll come and help you out. That's all I thought it was. And now I hear that it's just some worldwide movement, and about 20 years ago it was like tens of thousands of people were into this. But
I had a friend that was into it, yeah.
Started out kind of a Dungeons and Dragons things, became books, became online. It's huge. It's absolutely
Right.
huge.
yeah, it's an incredible world.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
With her Xena voice. Voices. Ghost Town. You were hired to play a man.
Yeah. Hard to play a man, but they just, well, actually not to play a man. I was hired, they wanted to hire me for something else, and then the role wasn't right, so they offered me a man's part and said they would switch it to a woman. So I said, sure. And then, yeah, and it was all right, the experience was just sort of getting my feet wet again, especially with being a mom as well and on location, the whole thing. It was the first step into going somewhere. And
Where'd you go?
to North Carolina.
Oh,
Again,
that's
I was
right,
a month
yeah.
away. I just don't want to leave my kids, it kills me. So,
Yeah.
So anyway, but I tried it out. Mouse came out for a while, and Iris was there the whole time. And it was really easy. It was easy to be on a set, because it's just like old hat, and just sort of look around and go, oh, yeah. And they were pretty independent as well. It was a low budget. So you just, you could just sit back and go, oh, yeah, I know what you're doing. I know what you're experiencing, talking about all the ins and outs of trying to pull it together.
So she's like, you're telling me.
I know.
La-di-da,
4 years
da-da.
of diamonds and guns.
I know.
Yeah.
But they were further ahead, because I was still working on some sort of post-production. And further ahead in that they had the money for post-production, where I think I was still raising money for post-production. And but that was all right, it was two directors directing, which is a little weird for me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Did they ever have a conflict?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, of
So the
course they do. I
actors-
mean, they have two visions, and they're trying to complement each other. One's more technical, one's more artistic. And it just, sometimes there's a lack of communication, a little bit, but, you don't have to do
Did
it,
you ever, now this was a Western, were you ever a cowgirl as a kid coming from Texas?
Not really, I was a city girl.
You were
I have to confess, I really was a city girl. Yeah, but the tomboy element of Gabrielle is still sort of in me, and so that sort of played into Little Jack. And then like the vicious, like she was just mean-spirited, in some ways. And I just sort of explored, okay, I came up with ideas. It was just, they were mean, like I hold the woman. I said, why don't I hold the woman while you beat her? But I had nothing to
she
do.
came
Isn't
up
that
with
horrible?
that.
It was horrible. But
Your
it's,
friend.
I know, and it's
She's pretty dark at times. Well, you're
it
not
is.
personally dark, but you
this-
remember you used to read all that psycho killer stuff?
because of Hope, though. I did it because it was Hope when I was playing Hope.
Oh, it's Hope's fault.
No, yeah, it was Hope's fault. But
You did
even
not-
before
didn't you do it at school?
Yeah, no, not at school, but there was another thing I was doing. Oh, when I play, usually because of roles. I always like to investigate the roles. And there was something, there was one where I was taken by a serial killer when I did FBI, The Untold Stories.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
right.
and I was working
Yeah.
with this great actor, and I just, again, I like to know, I like to find more to do. And the thing with Little Jack is she was so, there was nothing for her to do in the scene. So I sat there and I was like, okay, what are you going to sit there? You know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself,
Good
what am I
for
just
you.
going to sit here? And
Yeah.
they knew they wanted me on camera. Like they were starting to get that they should use me more. They're trying to find ways to put me in stuff. And so they kind of sat me down next to the woman. So I thought, well, heck, why don't I hold her down, And then, you know what I mean?
That's fair enough, though. You can't. We
You
call it
have to be
having
active.
egg on your face.
Yeah.
No actor wants to be in the back of somebody else's shot going.
Yeah,
Got nothing to
making
do.
faces.
And because that's not real either. If
No.
you're there, you've got an attitude. You've got something
It's not-
to
yeah,
say about the
exactly.
scene. Yeah.
So that was my contribution in that scene. So it's just, again, I don't know.
That makes
she
sense.
didn't come out as dark as I thought, she might at times. She wasn't fleshed out, really.
Would you like to play? Would either one of you like to play a serial killer, like the Dexter character?
I don't think I would. I don't know. Would you like to?
No, I turn down roles that are just in shows that I just find too mean-spirited, because I don't want to put that out in the world. Which is not to say I wouldn't play a serial, a one-off something, but I don't want to be in a series that's about hideousness.
Criminal Minds is. I've seen 2 episodes in a row now. That's a really tough show. It's well done. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not going to watch it again.
Yeah.
It's just so.
Oh, wow.
Well, I watch a lot of crime shows, but not scripted drama, because it gives me too much pain.
They keep calling me in for that too. Criminal Minds. It's funny because they don't really know me at all, so they call me in to read, and I've come to the idea that maybe I need to learn something here, and I go in and I the parts have been so heavy, and even though I haven't gotten them because of whatever reason in the end, and age, or it was like age stuff. One's too young, one's too old, blah blah. But just to really connect with these horrible victims was, oh my gosh.
Well, that's one thing. Court TV is actually pretty divorced from the actual crime.
Yeah, it's
after
when
the
you
fact,
watch,
you don't-
or on A&E or
Right.
Because
DTMS
you like
or
the investigative
Bio.
part. You like the analysis.
No, I want to see bad guys brought to justice.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I want to see,
That's cool.
yeah.
Wow.
That's why you watch. I wondered what you were getting at.
I don't know. So yeah, right. Something satisfying about that, particularly when it's like some doctor kills his wife and covers it up. So you want to see the rich guy go down for being a slime ball, and often they do it for regular for a few, maybe a couple of $100,000. Sometimes they do it for like $30,000. Go and murder some poor human being who never did them any harm, and you just go, I want you to go down for this. I want to.
Wow. And do they? I mean, that actually,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hard.
Well, the ones that I'm watching are, wrapped up cases, so it's about
Nice.
forensics or the cops being the heroes.
Wow.
Are you into the Drew? Is it Peterson? The latest one that's on there? With
Oh yeah, well
he's
that's
on
the
his
king.
4th wife?
Well, Scott Peterson was king, but I'm a little horrified that Stacey Peterson, they actually have a daughter called Lacey Peterson. You just know that the Peterson family up in Marin County or wherever oh no, they're from San Diego, aren't they? The Lacey Peterson's parents are reliving their misery through this other family. It's just a horrible. Not the Peterson family, sorry, but Lacey's birth mother. It's just ghastly.
And on a brighter note, moving away from serial killers.
So satisfying.
On to Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
There you go.
A little more
That
recent.
looks like fun.
I read
That was fun.
when someone was describing that show, they said, I guess there's a scripted outline, but then it's improv'd internally. And I wanted to know what that experience was like working with him and what parts were.
You're right that it is loosely scripted, and you have to, you have to make sure that you end up at a certain point from A to G by the end of the scene, and you can throw something out there and Larry will either love it and take it and include it, or he will kill it dead, right there. And
meaning that he just doesn't let it go any further, or you cut and then you start over again?
He was so good to me, and he was so, they just kind of allowed me to waffle. And I was respectful of their process, so I'm not throwing complete rubbish in there, I hope. But like the whole thing about, so you're a Jew, that was all from me. So you're a Jew. Because, there are almost no Jewish people where I come from. So to me, they were always like this mythical creature.
That is so funny.
Yeah. So
He seemed
anyway,
really
it was
kinda
really
smitten with
funny.
You know what I mean? Didn't he kind of seem a little smitten?
I don't know. It was good. Well, I didn't know the poor guy. That his marriage actually was breaking up. I didn't know. So I didn't know that. He, I guess, knew. Because it was just the next week that it was made public. So he was right in the maelstrom at that time.
Yikes.
Yeah. So
I wondered why that was on the show. Seems so odd. They're such a great couple on camera. That's an odd element to put into their show,
Yeah, I saw people like TV Guide going, this is where Cheryl leaves Larry, and this is where we leave the show. As if, they were hurting. People were really hurting because Cheryl left him. Now he's just a horrible old curmudgeon on his own. I don't want to know about him. Yeah.
Oh.
But it's like,
well, he's got to grow.
Get over it. Plus, this guy is an artist. He's not interested in being a monkey for the network. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Artists do what they do, and you can't stop them.
And he's in a situation where he can. It's popular.
Yeah,
and he's acclaimed.
And it's fascinating.
Yeah,
it's fascinating to watch somebody put real life on the line.
So a fair amount of that dinner table, the date, that was improv.
Yeah, I had one other scene which got cut out. But you understand it, when you see the episode, because I wrote in my blog, I thought it was all about me, this whole thing, because every day that I was there, it was all about me, the scene where they were talking about me or whatever. But so much is going on in this episode, because Cheryl leaves Larry, she's on the plane, and she's having a terrible time, and he won't listen to her because he's there with the TiVo salesman. Yeah, and the black family are there, and what else? The restaurant? Was that sandwich palaver part of that drama? No, the friends are choosing between Cheryl and Larry. So there's so much going on.
And that was kind of heavy stuff, for Kirk.
Yeah, it was like, that was an instant classic, I reckon. I'm lucky, man. I get to...
I was lucky I saw you, because I watch it when I can. And I guess I heard that you might be on it, but then, or you weren't going to be on it. Everyone was confused.
I didn't know.
The
date was confused.
We watched it anyway. It's like,
And then Ted Danson popped up at the end.
Ted Danson, what a great guy. The writers told me that everybody loved it, that I thought that Ted Danson was an asshole.
That was so funny. Did you make that up?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I thought you might have made that one up.
Yeah.
I remember hearing a line in there that I said, that sounds like Lucy. And I
Doesn't it really?
Which one it was.
Yeah, the way that you say it is you.
Exactly.
The way that you get there is you. Yeah.
That would have been your sort of sense of humor, plugging it in just to be funny. I figured that would be funny.
Yeah, because who doesn't like?
I know,
everybody likes Ted Danson.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Although
so
he's
funny.
doing an incredible job on Damages.
Oh, really?
Being an absolute bastard.
Oh, he's a good actor.
Whoa. He's fabulous.
He's a fine actor.
It's a great show. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, what's that on?
FX, right?
FX, right. Saving Grace is on TNT, Damages on FX.
Glenn Close, Glenn Close.
Oh, yeah.
Great, Holly Hunter, Glenn Close, so many.
Holly Hunter's doing that new show.
Saving Grace.
Oh, that's really good, yeah.
Really, yeah, so much good stuff going on.
And Laura Sangiacomo, I'm so thrilled to see her in such a great show.
Is she on same one?
She is. She plays the best friend, and I'm watching
Saving
this
Grace.
first
Oh, you'd
episode,
like that
and I'm
show.
thinking, I know that.
I would like that show.
You'd be good on that, yeah.
I think it was her glasses that threw me.
I have to see it. I didn't read a very good review about it, so.
Oh my God, it's so
watch it.
interesting.
Yeah.
And good and beautiful, really filmic, really
Oh, really?
gritty and yeah.
Huh.
Great acting.
And now we have to plummet back into schizophrenia because you did Boogeyman 2
Yeah.
for Rob.
For Rob.
Yeah. And how did that come about? How did you know that movie was being done?
I heard about it, and I was fascinated with this woman who was dealing with schizophrenia in her life, that her mother was a schizophrenic, and then she was always afraid of being schizophrenic. And it took me back to this, when I was a kid, I played something where I was a schizophrenic for this foundation, and all these parents really affected me because they were hurting so much with their kids going through this treatment. That's what affected me the most, more than actually watching the patients and how they functioned. So to think that this was a woman who basically felt the same way as all those parents did, connected
Toward
with
her
me.
charges.
Yeah, because this woman had to deal with the illness, you know. So anyway, so I immediately connected with it. I thought that would be fun, and it films in Los Angeles, and it was a modern day piece because the ghost town was again a different period, and I was sort of looking for things that are current, and yeah, it was good. It was really fun to do. I was the old lady.
It's a slasher movie, right?
Well, it doesn't feel like a slasher movie at first. It felt like a normal drama. And then I think the last day I was on, everyone started, at least I died, and people started dying, you know? And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a horror film. You watch Tobin Bell walking across the parking lot with 2 syringes in his eyes. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing, you know?
We were supposed to do something visually. I don't remember what it was, maybe just meat, but you wound up being in horror makeup for the whole day.
Yeah, which looked fantastic. They put blue veins on my skin, and it was peeling away because I'm electrocuted. So I went home that night like this because I knew Iris was asleep because I wanted to see what Judd would do because he hates horror films, you know. So I went, and he was just mortified. Yeah, I was sitting down next to him, honey, hi, honey. And I was begging them to let me take my head, because I get decapitated. I said, please let me take my head home. You know, that's just so mean. I'm going to put it in my refrigerator. Horrible.
Open the door.
Wouldn't that be great? And they said no. And I said, well, can we at least put it in the craft service refrigerator as everyone's coming through? And they said, well, we have to wait till it wraps, and then maybe we'll do it.
Lucy, she holds down women while they're being beaten. She wants
She has
to
a
put
head
hands in
in
the
her.
refrigerator.
But I
I
loved
know.
horror films.
This is not the Renee.
I know. I won't go to her house because I'm afraid I'm going to end up covering a lampshade.
Yeah, right. But you know, I was thinking about it, and I loved horror films as a kid. You know, someone's asking me why. It's because it was such a thrill. You know, I loved the idea that I could sit here and be on this journey, and I knew it was perfectly safe. And then,
Did you get Chiller station, that cable station, Chiller?
no.
Oh,
I
it's
never heard
pretty
of that.
good.
But I've kind
It's
of
a horror
outgrown it.
station?
I don't like it as much as I did as a kid. You know.
Me neither, but they're a little cheesy, so they're really good. You know, like the old stuff that we used to watch when we were kids.
The
So it's
70s.
okay. I quite like being a little bit scared,
Yeah.
but not a lot.
We just had this wild library of horror films, so I would go in. I wouldn't really even know the titles, but I put them in and start watching them, and then I would start to figure out how they did it. So then it actually detached me a little more from the gore.
Did you ever get a fright
Sometimes.
and put in a video that you know nobody meant you to see?
Yes.
Something adult. You go and yet somehow
Well, that's where I got
It's
the.
so compelling, I have to watch it.
Exactly, I did that. That was my joke on Diamonds and Guns, because my character put, you know, she's channel surfing, and then a porn comes up. She's like, oh, you know, porn, like no big deal. So that was my own little joke about how nonchalant, you know. I thought that was funny that she's just so nonchalant.
To me, I was sorting someone's tapes, an unnamed person, and I put in a tape. I can't even say what the other ones were, but I put in a tape, and I'm watching this like Victorian 17th century woman,
Really?
and then it progresses, and a lot of things are going on under
Is it
the
an
hoops.
so it's not an old-fashioned
This
movie?
was a period. No, this was a period.
period porn.
Period porn.
When was it made?
Probably in the 80s, huh? 70s, 80s or something.
I've been out here 20 years. I'd say, yeah, that was maybe around the 80s.
Was it
late
badly
80s.
shot and trashy?
I didn't watch all that much of it. I didn't know what category to. I was just there.
You didn't know where to file it.
I didn't know where to file it. I went in and said,
That's funny.
unexpected things. Somehow you're going to be unboxed. You have gone back to Vancouver and shot a bit more Battlestar.
Yeah, I get unboxed. That's about all I can say. They're very secretive about this stuff.
It was nice seeing your old buddies. It had been a while.
It was really nice, actually. Everybody is very relaxed. Unlike us in the run up to the end, because we all got more tense.
We were so excited too. Do you know what
We're
I mean?
excited, but I think people like the crew was very afraid. They'd had this job for a long time, and I don't know. By the end, I was so
Yeah, you're right.
incredibly tired that I was out of my mind.
Mind
I
you,
know I've
that was
admitted that before.
crazy. The end was crazy. 4 units going at the same time with those 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a
So
lot
that was
more
a-
physical show. It's a lot more physically wearing. I mean, you guys were outdoors in the least bit of clothing in the craziest weather. No other TV actors
yeah.
ever had to do anything quite like that.
And it was Rob's episode. We really wanted to get it right for him. You know what I mean? Don't you think? We really wanted to come together and be the best. And
Yeah.
that was probably where some of the pressure came in. But overall, weren't we just really excited? I mean, we seemed so pleased with every episode. Every single one in the 6th season stood up, you know? I thought we did a good job.
Wow. That's what you remember?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
like,
for you, it's a blank. What do you remember?
You don't remember 6th season? The last season?
No, I remember that those 2 episodes being incredibly painful, difficult, stressful, cold. No, I don't remember any of the other episodes that season.
Really?
What were they? I would if you reminded
Heart
me.
of Darkness.
Gurkhan.
Oh, really? That was the last season?
Gurkhan
I remember that
season
quite
6,
quite
yeah.
well.
The
yeah.
one where
Many Happy Returns.
Many Happy Returns. with
Was this
the,
a pony thing?
No.
What was that?
That's where you went swimming. She had a black eye. It was a lot of practical jokes were going on. And you read the Sappho poem on
Sappho
the
poem at the end.
hillside. Almost tossed the helmet over the cliff.
Was Kevin Smith in that one?
No, he was in Soul Possession, which was
Oh my
maybe
God,
the
I can't
third
believe you
or
Remember
remember
that's
fourth
where we
from
were
the end.
looked like clones. That was a
Yeah,
really
you
easy.
were- you were
That was
naked
such
in
an
those,
easy
right.
episode.
Yeah,
we were in heaven because there were so many people in the cast. There was very little for us to do on that episode, and we just got to sit and pretend like we're sleeping.
I was wearing Annie clothes.
Yeah.
Always my favorite costume.
Yep.
That was an easy.
Drinking chocolate milkshakes and burping.
Yeah, Kevin was in that a lot.
Well, you've been talking about Army wives, and there seems to be some hinting going on in the recent interviews that you've done.
That you're a big
that,
Lizzie?
that character's.
Yeah. Well, I'm not supposed to give that away, so I just have
Oh,
all I can say
okay.
is that I'm a lady who befriends one of the Army wives.
Liz be friends. Whoa.
Yeah,
Great.
but it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
The
Something
scripts
I've
were-
never played before. And put it like that.
And the scripts are not written
Not
yet, right? So
confusing.
now we're just. So what do you guys? Anyone done any picketing? Anyone?
I have not been
What
out
do you
there
think? What's
yet.
happening to the turmoil in Hollywood right now? I know the Xena
Yeah.
fans are out there providing donuts and
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
support. Yeah,
I didn't know
and
that.
surprising the heck out of the picketers, because the only show that's supporting them is a show that's been off the air 6 years.
They're sending
No way.
Absolutely
yeah.
way. Yes, they're
There's-
not getting stuff from anyone else.
Isn't that wonderful? They have a website. It's the Mary D's website, an Australian website, and there's a PayPal button, and you can go in, you can donate, and then what they do is they take the
Donate
funds
the
and
donut.
Sunscreen.
they put
Yeah.
water out there, and
Yeah.
Catherine was just amazed because there were all these boxes arriving for her and Stephen Sears. And it was from the Xenaverse, and so she said to all these.
Unbelievable.
I know, isn't it? She was so blown away. And
Your
then
people.
so she's telling all the writers within the guild, thank the Xenaverse. So people are coming up and they know nothing about,
Oh
and they're
my
saying,
goodness.
I want to thank the Xenaverse. You know what I mean? People are really starting to.
Get out of town,
Yeah.
really?
Aren't they amazing?
And they're just, why, your
great.
show's off the air. Why are they doing this for
Yeah.
us? They appreciate.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Fantastic. Your people, guys.
Well, those
Thanks
guys.
for letting us be your people.
I know. Isn't that really nice? Organize that? It's incredible.
Wow. It's really, this is the amazing, just that they're a force for good,
Yeah.
or for what they believe in,
Yeah.
which is generally speaking a really good cause of
Someone said-
spreading the love,
Yeah, someone
Spread the
said
joy.
it's funny because we seem to be better because of you guys, but then we also think that maybe you guys are getting better because of us. Not getting better, but I mean, like, you even go out again and try to be even more generous, or you push ahead and you keep finding new ways to keep it going, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're creating music and then in bringing everybody into your world, you know, it just seems to reciprocate
Yeah.
each other in the generosity. Like, look at the Kevin Smith.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing.
My parents have moved out here, so I'm thinking a bit about childhood, having my parents around more than I used to. And you recently performed at the Young Storytellers Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How did that come about? What did you,
That's right, I forgot to tell you about that because it was a very last minute thing. The woman who used to be my nanny and is now a social worker, so she's an incredible young woman too. Her boyfriend is one of the guys who runs Young Storytellers, so they're trying to sort of encourage that spark in children to tell stories and be script writers, though I hope they're not writing during the strike. But I was trying to support the young writers. I took them a donut each, and they have, once a year they have professional actors come and read the kids' scripts at somebody's house.
Oh, great.
So Amy and Bill asked me if I would come and do it, and I said, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, actually it was really funny. So this little girl, and I'm afraid I don't remember her name, wrote a story, The Mystery of the Voice of Elmo. And there was another story, and they're about 5-7 pages long, I don't know. And everybody, there was Tate Donovan, a whole lot of actors who you would know if you watched network drama, but I don't know because I don't, you know. But wonderful young people.
Yeah.
Ben from the OC, he was somebody I got to know a bit. Anyway, they came down, they wanted to do those ice-breaking games, you know, where you repeat a pattern or something, and I came to it late because I was trying to cadge a drink off somebody, and I was like, what? Oh, I better get over there with the actors. And I came to it late, so I was a bit behind the 8 ball.
And it's a group of actors trying to
And they're
warm
going,
up?
well, they're doing all sort of warm-up
okay,
games, and they're all like into it, jolly hockey sticks, and I'm like, what? And then you got to go boom, chocka-locka-locka, a wick, or whatever, right? And I'm like, oh, what is this? And then this kid goes, and you. And then I'm into it, going boom, chocka, what? And I'm trying to be like cool and hip and down with it, you know, but I'm like so lame at it. And the kids are observing us.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize they were observing us to see who they want to cast. So, in the end, like
Really?
nobody wanted to cast. You know, the kids were giving out all their piece of paper to the, you know, to the pretty girl, whatever her name was, who was like really, you know, she was quite slinky, really pretty, nice young woman, whoever the hell she was. And so she got a couple, and everybody else. And at the end, it's me and somebody else. I'm going, this is hysterical that I cannot get cast in Hollywood by a bloody 8-year-old, you know? So eventually this kid's standing there, and I'm going, have you got a dog role? She goes, no, all the dogs are gone. Oh. What about a fat man? I would like to play a fat man. Like, no, I'm just being ridiculous, right? And she goes, eventually she's like stuck, and I'm the only person. She goes, oh, do you want to play the part of the principal? Oh, yes, I want to be the principal, thank you.
Wow.
So she's like, gives me the principal role. I'm playing the principal of the school, Mrs. Goulart, spelled Gullet, and who turned out to be a real person. She was actually there, Gullet. So everyone is saying her name wrong. And it turns out to be like the main role, right? The title role, The Mystery of the Voice of Elmo. So these kids go to the Elmo show on Broadway, and they come out going, gee, I wonder who plays the voice of Elmo, and let's Google it up. So when they get home, they Google it up, and it comes up Anita Goulart or something. And hey, that sounds like our principal's name. Let's sneak around by and try to find out what her first name is. So at school the next day,
That's fun.
another teacher says, hey, Anita, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late to that teacher's meeting after school. No trouble, says I. Well, because my character is the voice of Elmo, of course, I start playing her totally with the voice of Elmo from the start. Like, I'm like, and the kids come and say, Mrs. Goulart,
hilarious.
Mrs. Goulart, everybody, we know that you secretly played the voice of Elmo. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Me not play Elmo?
Oh my God,
like,
that is hilarious.
so all like the audience loved it because they're grown-ups and they just thought it was funny that I would even know, because they see you get given the role and you've had no practice or whatever.
Yeah.
They just are amazed that you know the voice of Elmo, right? Yeah. But the kid was going,
oh no,
look, she's ruining. If you
giving it
talked
away.
like this, everybody would know you were Elmo.
That is so
Right, but I'm just being a fool.
funny.
And anyway, I had a
That is
great time, but the poor, as writers often are with me, are horrified at what I do to their words. Anyway.
That is really funny.
What a great
What you
I
do?
know.
No, me not. Yeah, me not play the voice of Elmo. You know?
I'm just a little kid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
Miscast.
Oh boy, oh that's
Perfectly
great.
cast.
Well, she should have given me the dog role. Yeah.
No accent. Hey, you have said that you use music to help you find a character, especially when you don't have much time to prepare. Can you give us an example and what music does?
I'm trying to think. I think it might be an emotional connection to the character. That's what I'm thinking. Because nothing comes out of, no inspiration on the story. I don't know, but it must just be probably the tone of the piece or the tone of the character. Maybe even the words or the voice of the musician. Could be that sort of thing.
Do you have to pick the artist for the character, or is it just something that strikes you?
I think it just, if I run across something. For instance, okay, here's a story. For 1 week in a month, it was just such a raw, angry character. And it was actually Eric's idea, the director, to listen to Liz Phair. Liz who? I don't know who she is. Do you know her stuff?
Phair, right?
Yeah, she is
Seen her name,
intense and angry, so angry, and that's what he wanted. So I was like, oh, okay, and I started listening to her, and I understood what he meant. So then I asked another friend who is more fluent in different artists to make a compilation of music for me. I told her what I was looking for, so she gave me some stuff, and I used that to get that feeling, just keep to sustain the feeling, really.
The emotion
Yeah,
in you.
it keeps me going. Yeah, it's good.
You also said, might have even been in the same interview, that you love the raw emotion of acting. Can you think of the rawest moment for you on Xena? Either both of you?
I know what hers is.
You do?
Yeah,
What?
that cannibal one.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought. Oh, that was pretty raw. Yeah. That was a sense where I felt like if I said anything, I was gonna lose
My
control.
shit.
I was gonna lose control of like, because you got to be professional. You got to do your job. You're here to do a job. And there was so much anger in that I just was like. But my most raw, what I was thinking with you is when you were in the water and you had that one piece around your neck.
That
You know
was
what I
heavy.
mean?
Yeah, that was.
And just to have that sense of there's dialogue and then there's emotion. There's no hesitation. It's just complete connection to the material and to the situation. That's what it came to my mind at first. Especially working with someone else, where the cannibal thing was just in my head going.
That right. Yeah, that wouldn't have occurred to me as the rawest, though that was certainly similar in that if I had have given an inch, I would have lost my
Really?
business. Yeah.
Oh.
Because it was so heavy. And everybody's like totally casual, having their cigarettes and, oh yeah, shall we film it? And I'm sitting there with this like 20 pounds of wood on my head that's really wildly uncomfortable. And there are other people, you particularly don't want to
That's interesting.
be a brat because there's other people in the water with you. And I think the ones they had on them weren't so heavy. They were like foam ones or something, styrofoams. But
You just had to look real.
and it was really miserably heavy. The other times that was hard to keep it together was in water. Often it was the water ones,
for
right? Water and cold, when we were wet and
the
cold.
other thing about that is that you couldn't do anything. You couldn't use your arms. You couldn't take it off. You know what I mean? Like you were sort of trapped in this thing. Your body was trapped. And I think that's how I felt with the cannibal. My arms were tied. I had all these
feel
strangers.
sometimes a little bit mad now when I look back and I go, you know what?
Yeah.
There is no, it's kind of what you said before, I'm afraid is true. I do not think that anybody puts up with that level of discomfort and stuff in America ever, not that I've seen. I mean, they don't bloody tolerate having to walk 50 feet to the bathroom,
Right.
let alone lying being crucified half naked in the middle of winter.
You have to laugh. 'Cause
Regularly.
You do wonder how.
You have to laugh, and yes, but every case, now again, I think of it and I just go, oh, that was wrong, man, that was unfair.
But you know what? It didn't, at the time, it felt like we were
We
serving
we
the
did
material.
not know any better.
I was going to
We were
say,
serving the material, though.
Yeah, but the
You know what I
more we
mean?
did, the
Yes.
more they could write.
Oh, instead of just
Because
saying, no,
you
I'm
and
not
I
doing
didn't know any better, and we were tough enough chicks to like
Yeah.
suck it up.
that. Yeah, you just
That's
do
great,
it.
but it's like, I don't want to remember, to be honest with you.
relatively new.
Yeah.
I
what
don't think
you
it
were
was
doing.
that. I don't think that if they asked us to do that now, if they asked us to go back and not go back, but we wanted you to be in these roles and we want you to do it right now, would you say no? Would you say, no, I will not be crucified at
Yes.
all, period?
Yeah.
Really? See, I don't think I would. I would be like, oh, if it serves what the script needs, I would do it. I would probably have a different feeling about it, but isn't that funny? I would.
No interest.
And I have a feeling when you say, would you do it again, basically what you're envisioning is 6 more years.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I've never
Oh.
signed on to.
Right.
no, I'm talking about let's just say in
Just
this
say a
world
one
that there was a
shot.
Xena movie and you had to be crucified. Would you do it? Would you
Oh
do
yes, I would actually.
That's
I
what
would.
I mean. I figured you would, because you would just do it.
Yeah, and also it's mind over matter now. You know, like I'm a much
Yeah.
calmer person. I'm not. I see it just for the gig that it is. Yeah, I just don't. I think I had a sense of religion about what I did before.
At least you did. At least you committed to it. You know what I mean? Because
That's
if you
right.
had done anything, I want to say in a halfway manner, it wouldn't have sold. You wouldn't have been the person you were. The character wouldn't have come across like it did. You know.
That's right, and I am.
So
yeah.
at that moment, that was really important for sure.
It could only have happened then. That's right. That's like it
Charged.
could only have happened at that time.
Yeah, I suppose if you hadn't done it the way you did, people wouldn't be delivering water to the picketers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You'd have had that kind of-
Maybe that's the difference, eh?
Maybe that's why you spent 6 years on Xena. So the picketers outside the Buena Vista Disney water would have sunscreen.
Yeah.
But the
That's
domino
right.
effect.
Yeah.
At the last Burbank convention, Renee, you talked about being at the Roxy. You said, I had a great time last night just sitting back and watching Lucy. I can see why you guys love her so much. You said you could see the love from Lucy to the fans and from the fans to Lucy. And then you started to cry. Do you remember doing that and why
Yeah.
it got you so emotional?
Oh, it's just so moving, you know. It's I'm so proud of you being up there for one, seriously, you know. And I just I think that's wonderfully courageous and it's just so fun to see you have this dream, whether it be for right now or whenever or however long, and to bring it out there and share it with everybody. I loved that, you know. It was so fun to watch you go for it, and then and to see the fans that were there just love you that much too, you know. It was just so fun. Like we're all united in this wonderful moment. So, and it's because you stepped up to do it. I thought that was cool.
Does love make you emotional?
Well, I'm love everything. Everything makes me feel sensitive, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm very compassionate and yeah.
Well, you
I
talked,
think it's a bad
you
thing,
know,
though.
you just did an online interview, and you said you had
Yeah.
a colorful childhood, and you also
Yeah.
mentioned in Chicago, I think it was, that there was some, there was some abuse in the family and what have you. And I don't know, has that made it harder or easier for you to be open as a person, as an actor?
I think I've just this last year started to realize that if I can own up to who I am, it gets me upset, that I can be a better person. Yeah. I feel like I'm on Barbara Walters. Barbara Walters.
Wait a minute, I don't do
Anyway,
things like
so
that.
what I want to say is, the more I can share,
Yeah.
the more I get to, live this really great life. And what's good about it is just not being so emotional about it, really, even though I am right now. Usually I'm not.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe because you're with your buds.
So I think Ren was very buttoned down for a long time, right? You were very
Yeah.
keeping a lid on everything.
Well, you have to.
And
There's
now
such-
you're able to like
Yeah.
let it up a little bit
Well,
and
allow
allow these things to
yeah.
express, because otherwise it's impressed in you.
But I expressed it in my acting. I always knew what I was doing as an actor, but you let the demons come out, and you express yourself. And that always worked for me, which was so great about Xena, you know. There were so many ways to explore different feelings, you know. But, so I always knew that. But to actually share stories with people was a whole nother thing, because you're so ashamed, you know, and to go, why? Why am I ashamed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am, though. It's really cool. And I'm writing about it. Oh my gosh, it's so incredible.
Yeah.
I had such a wild life. You have no idea. No one has any idea, really, what it was, this world I was in. So bizarre. But I'm starting to write about it. And the more I write about it, the more I realize how absolutely ridiculous it was. And that we lived this life. And that people, it's so ridiculous. It's like J.R. Ewing, you know, was the man who ran our world.
Ewing.
It was like, I swear, it was like this Texan, crazy man, you know? And it's so absurd to me that he got away with it and that we all had to be dragged along the way and no one did anything. It's so amazing to me. So I'm starting to write about that.
Keeping up appearances.
Yeah, that's what it was all about. You know, we were basically the appearance of a normal family.
Right.
So even as a young kid, I had the insight to know this was wrong, but I had no voice to say, what the hell, you know, what can we do about it? But now I do have the voice. This is all so new for me, so I'm just going to see where it goes. And yeah, we'll see.
Because there's nothing to fear by letting it out, right? When you're a kid, you feel like you have to...
You think you're going to be punished.
Yeah, that something so terrible is going to happen if you even admit something to yourself.
Yeah. So anyway, it's good.
It's good.
It is
It
good.
is very
I don't
good.
normally
It's
get
really
emotional about it because it is what it is, you know. And I realized that if I didn't live the childhood I had, I wouldn't be on the TV show I was on. I wouldn't have the ability to have the exposure I have to let other people know, you know, have faith.
And
you know,
touch people the way
I
you
can
have.
help them. Yeah.
Through that.
But it's taken me a while to get there.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question is yes, I was closed off because I didn't want people to hear all the bad stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, well, that's life. You know, it is what it is. So.
But he had
Yeah.
crazy brothers when they were growing up, and so you know you had 5 older brothers, right?
4 older brothers
4
and
older brothers, right?
yeah.
And you know, being the girl in the family can be they can be teasing, and there were quite some age differences, and I wondered if that affected kind of the way you look at the male of the species when you were a kid.
No, I went out with Marissa yesterday and we were canvassing around like frat houses around the university campuses. And she was terrified. She'd go, "Oh no, don't give him one of these flyers where I get a bad feeling about him." So I'd go, "Hey, dude, you want to give blah 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 blah?" And he would, smile, and he was totally human. But I realized that some people are very, very just deathly afraid of strangers, and these are not. It's not like, this person could be her brother. Sort of thing, same ethnicities, but just a stranger. And I'm not afraid of men at all, because I've had so much exposure to them, good and bad and whatever.
So you think it made you stronger and more?
No, I'm not prejudiced against them. Put it that way. I'm not afraid of them. I don't have a chip on my shoulder about men. Or women, you kind of see the human being behind. I don't care what their gender is. I don't care who they sleep with. I don't care. It's not my daughter.
Rob was asked recently, Rob answered recently in how close you guys are to your characters, that Renee is probably more like the character that Gabrielle became. I also suspect, and perhaps he was looking at your socks, that Renee is wilder than Gabrielle, but that is just speculation, Rob said.
My socks.
No, those socks aren't wild. No,
They're wild.
that's
Ladybug.
That's her Fae side. She's also quite girly.
Yeah, I like colorful socks in any way. No, but what is he talking about? My belly button ring? What is he talking about? Or
have
that I
no
like to
idea.
dance
Do you
on
have a
stage?
belly button?
He just thinks that perhaps you're wilder than people.
I've told him.
Probably, I don't know.
You told them, you gave it away.
I told him. That's I'm sure that's true. Yeah, I don't think Gabrielle was.
But I'm sorry, they're awesome characters, and they've been on television for a long time, 6 years, to develop. But it's still a television character, so a human being is always going to be more complex and infinite. I guess the reason that Gabrielle and Xena have some sort of infinite possibilities is because it's in the imagination of the audience.
Right.
But no writer can capture the essence of Renee.
But
they can only suggest certain things for the character.
But they might have ideas of a backstory, but I guess you know what I mean? I know some writers will write a whole treatment just on a character development. You know, sometimes that happens, but I know what you're saying, yeah. Anyway, that was just my other. But you still have to bring the essence to life. The soul has to come out, right? That's what you're saying, yeah. I know what you're saying, I'm just blah.
That's right, yeah, me too. I was just thinking, I've lost the thread of what we're talking about.
That
thought's gone.
I'm
Next.
going to one last peaceful thought
Sorry.
here, which caught my attention. You said in that online interview that I feel a sense of grounding in the desert where there aren't any people. Do you want to explain more about that?
I loved Egypt. I loved Israel. I'll never forget being in the Dead Sea, looking out over the mountains, and just feeling such a sense of peace and serenity. So when I think of like what's the most expansive I can feel outside my body, I think of the desert. I don't know why, but I love that.
And where's your most peaceful place, Lucy?
I'm pretty peaceful right this moment.
Yeah, you are.
These days, I just power down wherever I am. And I'm okay.
Except inside your exciting closet, right?
Hey?
Have you shown Renee the
No.
closet in here? I come in, she's got this, great house here, and she says to me, "You gotta see the closet." So I open the door, and it's a room. And she's just giggling like a little kid.
Yeah.
A room for the closet.
It's outrageous.
But you're really peaceful now, just hanging out with your family. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really great.
I've stopped thinking that I can't live without the acting or the money or the fame or whatever it is. None of that stuff is, none of that is in fact, that will get in your way of being happy and being peaceful. If you think that without these things, you can't exist, without a certain job, without a certain person. When you realize, oh no, I actually don't need any of that to be happy, then your natural state is peaceful and free and joyous. It's your natural state.
And one of your natural states at the moment is running around college campuses, as you said with
Oh,
Melissa,
Yeah.
asking people questions. Well, you've
Yeah.
got someone here.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, Renee.
Renee.
Uh-oh.
So, hooking up with a much older partner, what's so wrong with that? Have you ever, dated somebody much older or much younger than yourself? Would you?